All right, we are back from Disney's big CEO shakeup to Marriott's AI anxiety, plus why boutique hotels are having an identity crisis. And yes, somebody even brought glam heels onto a Ryanair flight. This week's Good Morning Hospitality is a full ride, so let's get into it. That morning music gets me every time.
I'm telling you, good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Steve.
Another Wednesday. This week flew by.
Yeah.
I always enjoy this time with you and all the listeners and viewers. Now, we're going to have a lot of fun today. A lot of great stories today. Usually, we have to search for some news. Today, we got a lot to share. But What was your weekend like? What was up to this weekend? Anything exciting?
Oh my gosh. So I actually had a super fun weekend. This is where you have these moments where you're like, I'm so when life kind of comes full circle, we've been around the block a little bit. We've got some connections and it's so cool to see who ends up popping up. But Friday afternoon, probably like 5 p.m. I'm like, ooh, it's been a week. I was ready to lay low, had a big week of just like a lot of work. I get a call at like 5 p.m. Friday and the question was, do you want to go to Ashlee Simpson's show?
Nice.
And by the way, this was also coming from her parents. So you don't say no. And I said, absolutely. Can I bring my mom? So I brought my mom to Ashlee Simpson's show. She did 4 shows. We went on Friday night. And it was at the Venetian at this beautiful little venue called Voltaire, about 1,000 people. And it was this beautiful, intimate show, super fascinating to see her fans. And she even invited her fans up on stage at some point to dance with her, which, of course, in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, security alert, security alert. But everybody was super cool, respectful. And it was just these beautiful moments of seeing, somebody that we've known forever, online.
TRL, on MTV, all these things. Yeah.
Totally. All the things. And then to be there. And then it's like, hey, mom. And then it's like, we're next to her mom and her husband, Evan Ross. It just was one of those super cool, fun moments. And she did a great job. And I just seeing her, obviously, Backstreet Boys many weeks ago. I'm kind of excited about this little, we've got all these people from our early 20s that are kind of making or like teens and early 20s making their way back around. I'm totally into this. So it's kind of cool.
Really sounds fun. I remember Ashlee Simpson. I remember her songs in my head. I don't remember the titles of them, but I could see the videos in my head playing.
Yes.
That's fun. So you got to enjoy the city. I did the same, similar-ish. Like I just took advantage. Sunday was a fun day like that where I went out and had my kids with me that day. I was with my dad and my brother and his wife, and we had lunch at a beautiful restaurant in downtown, walked the shops. And then they wanted to go home. And I was walking home. I was passing by where the Miami Heat play at the arena.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Let me see if there's a ticket. And there was a ticket available at a half price. And I walked in, watched the first half, had some dinner there, and then I went home. It's just like a fun way to do a Sunday, just enjoying and discovering and having a little adventure.
Stop. I saw those posts. You literally just went up, bought a ticket, and went in solo and just like caught a little bit of the game?
Yeah. I grabbed a beer, grabbed a burger, watched some game before I went home at halftime.
Wait, I love this.
Yeah, it was so fun. I was like, you know what? I walk by it all the time. That it was it looked like a fun Sunday afternoon. I didn't have any plans after that. I was like, I'm going to stop in and watch the first half and head home for $25 in the lower bowl. Like, how are you going to beat that?
Wait, I'm like you say, I'm flabbergasted.
You got to enjoy life. Seize it by the horn.
That's so cool. Good for you. That's great.
Well, anyhow, any visitors out there or our viewers, did you do anything fun this weekend? Anything last minute? Any concerts from your youth? Let us know. We'd love to see what you're all up to before we start sharing the news with all of you.
I know. Let us know where you're joining us from. Yeah, that's great. I'm just like, I love that you did that. That was so cool.
Yeah, my dad and brother like, really? I was like, yeah. And went over there. Like, next time we're coming with you. It looked fun. I was like, yeah, we got to do it.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. Well, with that being said, why don't we go ahead and get into our first topic for today. So Disney's pick. Disney has a new CEO. And this is a big deal. I mean, when was the last time that they had a new CEO? It's been a while.
It went badly because they had Bob Iger had to come back and take over because the previous CEO, it was a disaster, something bad. I forget what the headlines were, but it was just not treating people well, was getting too far on to the left. And I think like President Trump was attacking him at the time. There was a lot of politics involved there, and they had to pull back.
Gosh, yeah.
And now Bob Iger hand selects his next appointee, which is
Josh D'Amaro. And basically head of the Parks and Experience division. And D'Amaro, he's actually been with the company since 1998. So,
a long time. He started as at Disneyland. I think he graduated from your school of Georgetown. He graduated Georgetown, I think is what I read. And he started at Disneyland Park. And I was watching a podcast of his on Skift from a couple of years ago, talking about his first meeting where he was like blown away about the details. Like his first meeting was like, all right, the parade is going to come through this route. Keep an eye on the garbage cans because the garbage cans are going to fill up and we can't have garbage spilling once the parade is done. So he said that level of detail has trained him since his very first days in the parks. And he went on to run Disneyland, Disney World, Animal Kingdom. He opened up Shanghai. He did a lot of great things. So he rose through the ranks of the parks. And that's where they're saying most of their revenue is coming from, or the profit is coming from these parks, because the animation and ESPN and things like that are starting to become less profitable for them.
Totally. Well, and I will say this, there is definitely something to be said for somebody who, especially as a company as complex and specific as Disney, you know, you have to have somebody that knows the culture inside and out and can really help navigate it, because it's more than just making business decisions. But I mean, Disney is a complete culture. And I mean, I love that example as far as noticing the details, as far as how full the trash cans will get after the parade, you know, those types of things. That is why Disney is what it is.
No, and it was interesting. I want to go back and finish the podcast. It was actually at one of the Skift events. It was from a couple of years ago, but I want to go back and finish because he was talking about so many things that he was in charge of. And you don't realize it's not just the parks. It's also all of the hotels and golf courses and their travel agencies and their cruise ships that they're now investing more and more in. And they just announced last year that they're going to put in $60 billion just into the parks over the next 10 years. It's crazy. $6 billion a year going into the parks because they see. We talked about this last show. People want to do things in the real world. And some people might say the Disney parks are not the real world, but you get to escape and do something out there with your friends, your family, have that nostalgia for when you were a kid on different things. So it's interesting to see how they do it. But he was also talking about all the movies and the shows and all the things that they do, how important they are, because if a movie does well, then you'll see a book about it. And they're also one of the biggest children publishing companies. And that book will turn into a character at the park. Right? That park character you'll see that will have a music album, and all this starts tying together and all the things that they do to bring people into the park. So I think they're well positioned. You know, I'm a Disney fan, so I'm excited to see.
I do. I know this is definitely up your alley. And I think this is also perfectly timed because as we've just understanding the bigger picture when it comes to US tourism, which we have all seen across the board, a decline of international visitors to the US. Similarly, Disney is also seeing a decline in international visitors to the U.S. theme parks. So this is, it's obviously not just unique to Disney. This is what we're seeing across the board. But it's good that he's coming in at this time because this is, a time where we're trying to keep people interested and still coming and maybe making up for that lost revenue that they're not getting from international travelers, right?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he balances it because unbeknownst to me, before I saw this article, I was watching something this week about how Disney prices have really shot through the roof over the last couple of years to go to a park.
Yep. And, I've seen that.
I've felt it as a parent. And when you travel with your family, it can really add up very quickly. And they know this at Disney because they do have rooms that now are $4,000 and $5,000 a night. If you want the bungalow on the water at the Polynesian Hotel, right? So they see what's happening in the economy. They know, like, all right, we do have the ultra wealthy, we have some of the more value driven properties. And so they're trying to figure out how to balance in the middle for the middle class, because you could go to a park, spend a bunch of money, but then you got to stand in lines because you didn't have the money to buy the lightning pass. And so then your whole day is spent in 2 or 3 hour lines for one ride versus ponying up to $200 or $300 or $400 on busy days extra for a lightning pass at these parks on top of your ticket. So it could become a very expensive day. But they say, look, we got Broadway shows, restaurants, all these attractions that are new. We got to keep up with everything we're doing. So it's getting interesting to see what they continue to do.
It's very, very interesting. So wait, so every time you've gone, have you always gotten a lightning pass?
Yeah, because if you, like, for me, I'm not a local, right? So some locals would just go and pop in. Oh, I want one ride and get some food. But if you're traveling there and you don't have that pass, you can't go on all the rides because you're going to spend too much time in the line. So you buy the lightning pass and you make your reservation of what time you show up to that ride, and you wait 15 minutes in that line versus 2 or 3 hours in a busy line.
So I asked that because, you know, I don't have kids, and I'm not a Disney adult person. There are a lot of them, and certainly a lot in Southern California. And I had a friend of mine who was a big fan, and so, and this was a while ago. So let's just call it like 2017, 18. She came to LA and was like, I'm going to Disneyland. I'm like, good for you. And she was like, no, you're coming with. And I'm like, I'll drop you off, which is an hour drive each way, by the way. And she's like, no, come. So I'm like, fine. So I go, and I have to say, I was really impressed because I was like, I'm not buying anything extra. Like, I'm just here to support. I'm her emotional support adult to go to Disneyland. But I have to say, they did a fantastic job. I was very pleasantly surprised as far as keeping the lines moving. Obviously, you know, this is at the time that they were just starting off with their app. So then you could kind of see which lines were busy where. And without having anything extra, we were able to kind of bop around and still do a good chunk of the park without necessarily having a fast pass. So I thought that was very clever. I don't know if it's still that way, but yeah.
It's interesting to see. Like, I haven't been in a year, like 2 years at Disney. We went to Universal this past year, and I like what Universal does. If you stay at their premier properties, you get automatic their fast pass version. I forget what it's called, the Universal Pass. So you can get that included in your room stay. So you save, you buy a $500 night room. It's not still cheap, right? But you get your $500 night room, but then you're getting, with a family of 4 or whatever you may have, $1,200 worth of fast pass that you don't have to buy. Right. So it's a good trade. It's automatic. Like, I'll stay there to get those and go in the park. So there's a lot of things you got to learn before you head through those gates if you really want to.
You do. I'm sure that there are a lot.
Videos. I was
just going to say a lot of YouTube videos for sure. All right. Wow. We spent a lot of time on Disney.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Let's come to Disney with us.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Perfect. Why don't we switch gears a little bit and talk about what's going on with Marriott? So Marriott CEO Anthony Capuano has implemented 8 major shifts. So definitely going to be expanding into mid-scale markets, also revamping legacy brands, naturally pursuing operational efficiency. But they're also focused on new revenue streams like upselling non-room services. We've talked about this before, things like spa treatments, all of that. And then also and by the way, this has been huge. If you are not aware of what's going on with the world of AI and how it's impacting just travel booking, you should definitely check out a couple of the Skift daily briefings. There's a lot going on, but they really are focusing on enhancing the loyalty program to compete with banks and AI travel tools. And that's huge. So
they got a lot going on. He shared 8 tips. You should definitely check out this article on Skift. Because he's talking about his 8 biggest shifts that he's seeing. And, you know, it was interesting to see that when he talks about the mid-scale expansion, because they were a little bit late to the game, where a lot of the hotels were ahead of them, like Hilton and Hyatt, building some of these mid-tier brands for longer stays. And they are looking to experiment with different things. They experimented with Sonder this year. They talked about that. So experiment didn't work out, but we learned a lot from that, and they're taking what they learned from it and putting into some of their newer brands that are in this mid-tier area. But what I did like is that they're trying to revamp, like you said, some of their brands like Sheraton and Westin that, you know them, but you haven't probably thought about them in a while, unless that's like the place you want to stay in that city. So they're really working on revamping it with new marketing. And I saw the new commercial they put out was really good. Then they're also trying to like get Ritz-Carlton to kind of give it a refresh as well. So they put out a new ad that won a bunch of awards. That was like a short film that was really cool, kind of like Wes Anderson vibe short film.
Very much so. Yes, they did great with that.
Yeah, so they're doing some interesting things to get people into their hotels, but they're really trying to fight off what I do and is use AI to like, hey, plan my trip. They want you to think when I'm planning a trip, let me log into the Marriott Bonvoy app. That's where I start planning my trip. So they're trying to give you more points to use. So it's not just for hotels. You could use it to go to the event that you want to in that city. And so his biggest wish, he said, is that he would love to see people start thinking about their trip within their app. And he's going to be working on doing that as much as he can. So he's got his finger on the pulse. They're all over. And they really are thinking about ways to make not only Marriott more profitable, but also the owners of their hotels as well. Because they got some feedback from the hotel owners that they want some more profit as well. So a lot of work.
Yeah, exactly. Man, you did a great little synopsis right there.
You inspired me. I told you backstage, I was like, Sarah's on her game. I'm going to get on my game here.
I feel like that's just a mic drop. I have nothing else to add, sir.
And we got a LinkedIn comment here. Hotels have great opportunity to start driving the awareness of more added value that already exists.
Yeah.
So that is very true. They do. So let's see how Marriott leads the way and shows us what to do.
Mm-hmm. And the quick note, that I kind of like mentioned as far as what's going on with AI. So there are new sort of like tools in chat that basically when you're searching, and this is where it's becoming the new sort of frontier of travel booking, when you're searching and you're kind of trying to put together itineraries for different locations, or you're trying to plan a trip, different properties, and we're going to continue to see this fight, are actually implementing tools so that you can just basically book through chat. So now it's not like, oh, here's an idea of the itinerary, go to the site directly and just book, but it's now basically the booking process is moving, what they're saying, moving further upstream. And yeah, so there's going to be a whole tug of war over getting the attention of travelers over the next couple of years, definitely with the usage of AI. So these big brands have a lot to keep in mind.
Yeah, they do. They have to really be in front of people's eyeballs. If they're not, AI will tell you where to go. So it's going to be interesting to see the development over the next 12 to 24 months.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, speaking of shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about boutique hotels. Yeah. So yeah, I know. Big fan of big hotels. So boutique hotels. So this was an interesting article that came out on Skift. Can boutique hotels survive the lifestyle makeover? And what this is kind of talking about, boutique hotels have always kind of had their own niche sort of energy, but we're seeing all of these bigger brands like the Marriotts, the Hiltons, etc., that are now adding boutique hotels to their portfolio. So it's this interesting tug of war that why boutique hotels were so loved is that they were unique and they were doing their own thing. But now that you've got so many of the bigger brands that are incorporating them into their portfolio, where is this? Can they still be cool through scaling? I think is the big question, among many others.
There's a lot of great opinions in this article. A lot of leaders of big brands talking here, like Ennis Moore and Viceroy, and they had Ian Schrager in there, of Morgan's Hotel fame in addition, and his new one we talked about last week, The Public. So a lot of opinions there. I can say I've been on both sides now, where I've been a part of a brand that got purchased, and I've also did some consulting work like that. And you see it slowly die, in my opinion, the coolness of it, because they have to adapt to the big flag of, now I got to use Marriott's system or Hyatt's system or Hilton's system. And I don't know how to use this thing. It doesn't allow me to do all the cool things that I used to do for guests. That doesn't make cost sense anymore because we can't standardize you spending that much money for this guest on this cool thing because the other guest is not going to get it. So now we're going to cut it down to this amount for everybody on spending per employee, right? And so all these things start to standardize, and little by little over time, it starts to evaporate, I think. But I think there's also hotels that can really do this well. And I think it's the independent hotels, of which one I'm building. I think like we're going to be a good example of it here in South Florida with Bahia, and how we're going to be doing this is really taking control of your destiny by creating media, like learning from Disney. What is the media you can create to get people to come to your property? It's all those social media clips. It's inviting the right people there. It's becoming the third place people want to hang out in, and being part of their lifestyle, right? That's how I think of lifestyle hotels is I want my life to include that location, and I'm going to incorporate it into the lifestyle that I have. And I think that's why lifestyle hotels, this term gets used all the time, but that's really what it is, right? It's like, I want to be there. I want to spend time there. I want to be seen here. I want to be with my friends and family here. So you got to think about those things. But you're always in hotels. I'm sure you have certain ones that, they say they're boutique hotels, but then don't really live up to it. What do you see that you like when you're in them?
I think what it is that, and I've stayed at a lot of, kind of those boutique, those lifestyle hotels that are now under bigger umbrellas. And I don't mind them. Because in a sense, it's like the ones that I have been to, I do think that they still try to keep they still do a very good job as far as staying very local and very unique and specific. And I'm like, oh, that's cute.
Yep.
But then there's the consistency that that you get where it's like, okay, I know I can do my mobile check-in. I know I can do this. I know I can request for housekeeping through the app. And so I have seen some of those smaller, very unique brands, like with Marriott, for example, Autograph Collection. Each one of those are so different for the market that it's in, that I feel like even though it's under Marriott, those individual properties, it would be hard to make them feel commoditized. You know what I mean? Whereas I think a good example would be like what we saw with W Hotels. Remember when W Hotels came on the scene? That was so cool, so unique. And then because that I think is an example of how a boutique hotel that was like edgy and different blew up and then it's a big brand in and of itself. So I think that's where the fine line is.
That's what I think about a lot. I remember W early 2000s was like the place to be. It was a cool place to be. It was edgy. They were doing fun things. And then little by little, all the people that started that brand left, and they got replaced by people from other hotels that didn't know the culture and corporate, and it slowly started to die. But now they're making a big focus on bringing it back. So I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, fair. Man, I love their beds. They have the best beds. Anyway, big fan. Okay. Quick. Next, we got a couple more topics that I definitely want to touch on here. So Accor. So this is kind of what I was talking about, or at least like hinting at when we were talking about Marriott, but Accor launches ChatGPT integration. So to give you an idea, they've launched a direct integration into ChatGPT to help capture bookings earlier in the trip planning funnel. If Accor is doing this, I am surprised the other hotels are not on board yet. What's crazy about this is it's, again, early in the trip process. So it's almost this attempt to outmaneuver OTAs. And this is Wild West, right?
Yes, I was playing with it today. So I'm actually staring at it in ChatGPT.
Okay.
And so it's not easy to find if you're like a ChatGPT Lite user. Like you have to go in to ChatGPT's app store where it says apps on the left side, type in Accor, find the Accor app, and then connect it. And so there's a couple of steps for you to do it. But once you're connected, then it will be part of your thinking. And when you say you want to travel, you're going to say, hey, I'm going to such city. Can you find me this hotel at Accor? Right. And then it will load up everything that you've got. But that's the very beginnings of what we're doing now. But yes, everything will be integrated here very soon. So you can say, I want to stay at this type of hotel here or there. That's why brand is going to be so important.
Totally. Brand loyalty. And again, like, thank you for explaining how it actually works in chat, because it is specific, but basically, we're going to see a lot of the other hotels follow suit with this.
Yeah, right. I think right away, because you could upload, if you and I wanted to upload an app right now, we could make one and put it up. I have one in there in the app store. We could have one.
We can do that.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. We take all of our transcripts.
Hospitality app.
We go. We put all of our transcripts in. Ask Sarah and Steve your questions, and it'll take all of our transcripts and answer as it knows who we are.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
anyway,
a lot of fun.
So there you go. So before we get to our unhinged story, this one it should almost be unhinged, but it's also kind of crazy. So love our friends over. By the way, have you ever flown Ryanair?
I've never flown Ryanair, but we've talked about them a couple times of how funny they are on social.
I have never flown them, but I want to fly them to support because I just love how tongue in cheek they are and just everything that they do. So they actually sparked recently a fashion debate, an online debate about fashion. They did a viral post debating whether wearing heels or going full glam on Ryanair is fabulous or foolish. And social media was kind of split. They were like, okay, well, go for aspirational travel or go for comfort culture. But I kind of think this was
what do you wear when you go on their plane? You're not going in full glam and heels.
No, I have a travel uniform, so to speak, and it's like yoga pants, sneakers, comfortable top, probably a couple of layers, whether it's a sweatshirt, a jacket, or a heavier jacket if I'm traveling to a further destination. If I'm going to a very cool destination, instead of sneakers, I will actually wear my boots, just because they're heavy. So I have a very specific thing. But for example, tomorrow I will be doing a day trip flight, and I won't have any carry-on, and I want to look presentable. So tomorrow I will probably be traveling fairly glam, so to speak. So
the other thing that I think they're good at rage baiting people, because the other headline in this article was "Don't wear jeans, get comfy."
Yes.
Right. Yes. So I'm wearing jeans right now, and I wear jeans on the plane all the time. I don't know what I'm supposed to wear. Am I supposed to wear a tracksuit? Am I supposed to get ultra glam and put on slacks? I'm curious, viewers and listeners. Put it here in the chat here. When you fly, what do you wear? Let us know. Because we just had another airline say you can't come in there looking like you're on pajamas and not too skimpy outfits and all these things. So it's interesting to see what's going to be coming through pretty soon. So in the chat, let us know, what are you wearing on the planes?
You know what's so funny? Because like for you, jeans, you wear jeans. It would be a very specific thing for me to wear jeans on a flight.
So funny. Hey, I don't know if I've seen you in jeans. I'm wearing them right now. Jeans and a blazer and a white shirt.
Did you just say you haven't seen me in jeans?
I don't think I've have. No, every time we've been at an event.
See me from here up.
Yeah. And never mind. We won't say what you're wearing when you're there.
Oh, well, I'm wearing yoga pants now.
Okay. All right.
No, but I wear jeans, but to wear jeans on the flight, that would be, I'll probably wear jeans on my flight tomorrow, which will be different. So
on YouTube, I see YouTube chat. We don't have to put it on the screen, but YouTube, yes, we're here. We're listening to you. Keep letting us know what you're up to. We love seeing the YouTube chat. A lot of people watching over there. We are here to answer your travel and hospitality questions.
Look at this. What? Will Slickers. By the way, Will Slickers is not working behind the scenes today.
Aren't you on a cruise?
He's on a cruise. Good to know the Wi-Fi is working, Will.
I saw he's wearing a Speedo in one of the pictures, I think.
Wait, what? I didn't see this picture.
I'm joking.
I was like, what?
Put an AI picture.
Will Slickers. Pajamas on flights or in public. Yeah, agreed. That's weird.
Lazy vibes.
No, not into that at all.
Slippers.
Yeah. Well, okay, wait. Looking at the time, we have to get into our unhinged story of the week. This is crazy. Do you want to run through this, or do you want me to do it?
I want to make sure I have the right one. This is where a guy, 20 years old, was flying back from seeing his grandparents and heading back to Gainesville, Florida. And as he was getting off the plane, waiting for his luggage, he's waiting and waiting and waiting and can't find his luggage. His sister got his luggage. And then all of a sudden, he sees coming up the track of the luggage, a sock. He's like, that's weird. Whose sock is that? And then all of a sudden, he sees his underwear. He's like, that's my underwear. And then another piece of underwear and then another sock. And little by little, all of his underwear and dirty socks and dirty laundry starts coming up every 30 seconds, one piece up the place where all the luggage comes on the carousel. And so he freaks out, runs over. He's like, what's going on? Why is all my underwear coming up the carousel? And it turns out his duffel bag had split. And so all of his clothes were stuck and little by little just getting fed up from his duffel bag. But in the end, he got all of it. But what would you think if all your dirty undies were coming up off the carousel from your trip?
Well, first of all, I would have traveled with a duffel bag, but hard shell suitcases for life, guys. Come on. But
depends on the length of the flight. It's international, 8 hours. I go comfortable. Hoodie and sweats, 3 to 4 hours. Business casual.
ooh.
I like it. Good one. Who's wearing shorts on there? That's the other question. Some people say don't wear shorts.
No bear skin on
Paul Manzi. Get back to vacation, Will. Listen, Will misses us. He wants us to hang out. We're here on the cruise with you, Will. I love it.
Yeah. Definitely. We'll be right there.
Yeah. Actually, my favorite. Go ahead.
No. What were you gonna say?
I was thinking about the cruise. I'm going on one, and I want a coconut and lime drink on the Royal Caribbean is my favorite one. So.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to check that out the next time I go on a cruise.
Yes, but so what would you do now? You got all your undergarments coming out. That would be a show. Everyone would be like,
First of all, I would probably start recording it because it's just so ridiculous. Because it's, again, you're like, what on earth is happening? And then one by one, things from your suitcase come out from on the baggage carousel.
Lucky it was just that. You never know what else. People travel a lot of crazy stuff in those pieces of luggage.
Travel with weird things. That is very true. Very, very true.
Mm-hmm.
But what a funny thing to do. And I think it's also that reminder that duffel bags the duffel bag should just stay with you in cabin. Hopefully they're small enough and you can just take them as a carry-on so that they don't end up splitting or get caught on anything.
I agree with. And listen, there's people that travel with just like garbage bags and they tape it up. I've seen that too. So that's always funny to see.
Oh my gosh. No, we don't do that. Definitely not that. Anyway, do we have time for a quick real-time recap? Do you want to do that?
Let's do it. Let's do a quick real-time recap.
All right, perfect. Why don't you start first?
I will give I did a lot over the weekend, but I'll give a shout out to a little shop. I forgot the name of it. And if David, Turk, if you're watching still, let me know the name of the sandwich shop we went to on Sunday morning for coffee. It was in the Upper Buena Vista complex I talked about a couple of weeks ago. And this woman just opened up a shop 2 months ago. I wish I remembered it. As a sandwich shop with all these beautiful cheeses and meats and things from Europe.
Yeah.
And we were sitting out there, my brother and I, and she came over and she's like, this is my shop. Here's some tastes and bites for you. Just served us and kept serving us a couple of things over and over again. So we're now where I'm a fan and I want to go back and help her make sure her restaurant is a success because it was delicious. And I'll remember it and I'll post it here in the comments. But if you're in Miami, make sure to go check out the sandwich shop. It just showed us. I didn't buy anything. And we were just sitting there having a coffee and she kept bringing us stuff out. Then my brother ended up buying some soups and things because it was freezing cold in here in Miami. So
yeah, I saw that. That was crazy.
Yeah, 30 degrees, 20 in the wind chill. Not used to it.
No, definitely not used to that there.
But just shows you how now I'm a fan, right? Her hospitality. You're sitting here by my restaurant. Yeah. Let me serve you and feed you. And it was great.
I love that. And again, it's like a cute a spot that you just like stumbled upon and discovered. And you'll probably make a point to go back.
I'm going back. I'm ready to go back now today for lunch.
Yeah. Oh, good. I love that. Love that. So this was an interesting moment. So on Saturday, I got invited by a friend to go to a show in the middle of the day. And I'm like, okay, I don't know how I feel about that, but I have this thing I don't like to do. I don't like to do enclosed activities during the day when the sun is up, but whatever, story for another time. So I get invited to this show and it is this British singing review show and a British musical. And there was a singer who's been around since the 70s. His name is Danny. Oh my gosh, what's his last name? It'll come to me. And he's this older British gentleman, and he basically did all of these fun covers of these songs by famous British singers from over the years. So you're talking about Elton John, Phil Collins, Queen, all of that. And it was such a fun thing. I mean, by the way, it was definitely a hole in the wall, but they were so cute. It was really kind of run by like 3 people. Oh, do you have enough to drink? I mean, they probably wanted to make sure that we really had enough to drink because of how fantastic the show was. But it was just this fun, cute moment. And it was this reminder of that even in this small black box theater at 2:00 on a Saturday, something so bizarre, you can kind of be taken into this own little world. And I think that's so much of what hospitality is you're taking people on a journey and this sort of experience. And whether it's a show or whether it's like through a culinary experience or staying at a property. And it was great. It was really, really well done. So, yeah, definitely not what I expected to be doing on my Saturday, but it was fun to do.
I love it. We had a fun weekend, both of us on opposite parts of the country, but sounds
We did.
exciting for both of us. We covered a lot here today, Sarah.
We did.
And a lot of great
And
stories.
our matching outfits, by
And
the
our
way.
matching outfits, as always, and we never
Yeah.
planned this.
Never
But
planned
listeners and viewers, we definitely shared some interesting stuff today here with you. So
Yeah.
make sure, pause this, copy and paste it, share the link to your friend, because they're going to enjoy it just as much as you did. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe here on the Skift channel, because you're going to get all the up-to-date travel and news that you could use. And Sarah gives you a daily update every day as well, in addition to all this.
A lot. So much good stuff to find out. So yeah, definitely be sure to subscribe and follow and share.
Yeah, sharing is caring, everybody. So until next week, everyone, stay hospitable.
Hospital. Gosh, we can never get it right. Bye.